Now, this has been a pretty deep storm as we do break down a cross section of this, approaching at least the depth of it, almost 50,000 feet. And for a morning thunderstorm, that is pretty deep and a pretty significant updraft associated with that. So hail could be, at least some larger size hail will be our primary concern. So as we time this out for you, so that snow heaviest actually this morning. We'll see a little bit of a lull in that action into this afternoon, but notice farther towards the northwest, you're going to be turning quite a bit drier. But I do want to get a check at that snowfall forecast here, adjusting it just a little bit. Notice that highest through portions of Emmons, Logan, and McIntosh counties. That's where around 5 to 8 inches could be possible. Wishick, Linton through Napoleon, maybe up a little bit closer to Jamestown, Bismarck. For now, keeping around 2 to 4 inches. You do sort of see these storms break apart. Some lift towards the north, keeping that severe potential, but the ones that push their way towards the south, I do expect them to run into more stable air over the south, central, and eastern part of the state. Some severe storms developing this afternoon up towards portions of Montreal and Ward counties. You can see some convection already firing off over the northwest and north central. More clouds now moving in the rain to the Minot area, so this storm is lifting its way towards the northeast, heading towards Minot. As
we're bringing in our meteorologist Curt Olson, really to understand and break down just what effects we saw early this morning.
Yeah, and this storm is going to be one for the record books. If you remember, Katrina actually hitting around the same time back in 2005, and that one actually had winds gusting only around 125 miles per hour. As this made landfall in Cameron, Louisiana, it had winds estimated around 150 miles per hour, and even some of our highest wind gusts. Lake Charles earlier this morning, 132 mile per hour gusts. There is going to be the chance at a few sprinkles this morning. I brought my trusty umbrella just in case we do get a little bit of a light rain shower, but really not expecting much in terms of moisture. Let's get a look at that forecast.
Again with meteorologist Curt Olson. Curt, a lot of ways you could describe today.
Yeah, and I've got just a few of those as those dew points climb in heat index values for some potentially into the triple digits. It's going to be a humid day, oppressive, disgusting, soupy, stuffy, sticky, you name it. My favorite, gross. That's the kind of day it's going to be out there today. So we are seeing that strong wind conditions over the past hour have really deteriorated. That's what brings us the heat and humidity. It's the cold front that produces the lift to start to spawn off some of those showers and thunderstorms. And I do think timing wise, it's going to be by mid-afternoon, some of those storms developing just towards the west of Highway 83. You can see that storm that is going to be rolling through portions of Corson County right now. So that storm moving towards the east at about 35 miles per hour. So it's this guy right here. There will be a bit of a reprieve from some of those temperatures. But in terms of your highs here for this Tuesday afternoon, we've got a lot of those numbers reaching well into the 90s. Notice even some triple digits again back into parts of eastern Montana. And we will see some of that heat spill over into far western North Dakota. Those winds just continue to howl across much of the region, and that's all thanks to a tight pressure gradient across the northern plains. So we've got that low pressure system to our northeast, high pressure system to our south and west, and that's what's generating that tighter pressure gradient overhead. But before we talk more about the winds, let's talk about what's going to happen for the rest of this afternoon. So we're continuing with some sunshine across much of central western North Dakota, but on the backside of this low, we're wrapping in some snow showers through the James and River valleys, and there has been a low deck of stratus that's going to dive its way southwards out of southern Saskatchewan into the western part of the state. So there will be increasing clouds, but what is driving our winds is this pressure gradient. There is actually about a 50 millibar pressure difference from this high pressure system to our southwest to this low pressure system to our northeast, and that's what's helping to generate those significant, those dangerous wind gusts that we've been experiencing across much of the region. Now, looking back at historical non-tornadic and non-thunderstorm related wind gusts, these are the highest by county, but you can see that none of our winds today quite making it onto this list. The only one that would get close would be Divide County, as Crosby reporting a 90 mile per hour wind gust there. So tying the highest wind gust, at least for Divide County here this afternoon. The strongest wind gust ever recorded in North Dakota, Slope County. That was 143 miles per hour. Good news is we're not dealing with winds that significant, but we're not the only ones dealing with the winds. It's much of the central northern plains. We have that low pressure system moving on shore over the Pacific Northwest, then through the Rockies. You can see all these blue dots here. These are wind-related reports of significant wind gusts across much of the northern plains into the central plains as well, and back over the Pacific Northwest. So still high wind warnings from parts of Montana through North Dakota down all the way through Kansas. We've even got some winter storm advisories as well as a blizzard warning in portions for eastern South Dakota and southern Minnesota, where 6 inches of snow can be expected. But on top of it, they're also going to be experiencing those winds. And then we've got falling snow potentially through the Red River Valley this evening. So blowing snow will be a factor towards the east. Our biggest problem will still be those winds this afternoon that still could gust upwards of 65 miles per hour. So recent wind gusts, those have been ranging 45 to upwards of 65 miles per hour. You can see now some of the strongest winds in Bismarck, 64 mile per hour gusts out of the northwest. In Buffalo, South Dakota, 93 mile per hour gusts reported there this morning, now still gusting to close to 70 degrees. And this is causing some havoc on the road. As you can see, I-84, this is westbound in Sterling. Overturned semi-truck blocking both lanes of traffic here, at least westbound. Hopefully everyone okay in that situation. And then even knocking out power to many locations. This was this morning on our Minot Skywatch camera about 3:25 Central Time. Now notice I'm going to stop it here at 4:55 Central Time. Lights are still on. Notice a lot of those street lights. And then once 5 o'clock hit, they had about a 78 mile per hour wind gust, and that easily just knocking out power towards at least parts of Minot. And that was certainly the case western North Dakota, eastern Montana. So for a lot of locations, it may be a good time before you do see that power restored. So we will continue with some of those gusts this afternoon, 60 miles per hour. Blowing snow will be a factor towards the east. We'll keep those clouds around tonight, but notice what happens to those winds as we go into this evening. They will be tapering off. Even tomorrow morning, gusts of around 40 to 50 miles per hour possible, but the good news is they die down by tomorrow afternoon. It will be a little bit cooler, down to the 20s, but then for the weekend, nice little break from those winds, Hope, and we've got those temperatures back above that freezing mark.
We sure will be enjoying the break from the winds.
We will be, yeah.
All right, thank you, Curt.